Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Real Estate Talk TGIF. This is episode 341, and it's 337 weeks in a row. And we have a three-timer, not a one-timer, not a two-timer, but a three-timer today, Leigh Brown. Leigh, I met over the years through Inman, through other things of conferences and speaking and talking and all different kinds of things. And one of my most favorite people in real estate for a lot of reasons. Number one, she knows her shit. Number two, she's a top realtor. Number three, she tells it like it is, kind of like somebody I know. And it's just so much fun to talk to this young lady. Leigh, welcome to the broadcast again.
Dave, thank you for having me back. I'm so excited to hang out for a few minutes.
This is great. This is great. But as we get started, we have the intro. Hit it, Nelson. Real estate agents, are you looking to acquire clients consistently to grow your business and income for a great lifestyle? Well, this is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent team. Good morning, everybody. Again, this is Real Estate Talk TGIF, episode 341. And this broadcast is brought to you by myself, by Real Estate Skill Builder, a coaching company I kind of work with. I know the owner, as well as the Align Real Estate Solutions Group in New Jersey. And we're in several states, but our objective is to have people grow their business and have people have a business that they love, which is what I am all about, trying to help as many people as I can. And today we have Leigh Brown with us. Leigh, welcome.
It's an honor to be back with you, Dave. And I love that mission of helping people build the business that makes them happy. That's something we don't talk about enough in this business.
No, it isn't. And for me, it's always been, we tell agents, if you go with the money in mind, you're really not going to be as successful as you want to do. But if you go helping people, it always works. And for me, I've had to find, my way over the past 7 years. And I finally realized that I've been doing that for a long time. And once I realized I was doing it, things started flowing a lot better. I don't know why. I guess I just realized that I wasn't being a prick going after the money, and I was just trying to help as many people as I could. Anyway, as we get started with this broadcast, I have a question, and then we get into another thing. What does TGIF stand for, Leigh?
Thank God it's Friday. Woo!
Okay, so you know what? I'm a little disappointed in you. It's the third time. Thank God it's finale. I mean, geez, you disappoint me.
I'm sorry. We're recording this on a Friday. If you want me to say finale, you're going to have to do this on a Thursday or something. That's on you.
You might think so, but I disagree. Anyway, so Leigh, we talked about a lot of things. I think I first saw you on an Inman stage, and you've done so many things. I even saw you on an Inman stage when you were in a walking boot. I remember that. I might have been San Francisco.
That was 2017 in San Francisco. Can you believe that's almost a decade ago?
Holy shit! Wow, that was that long ago.
I had different hair then. That was a whole different hairstyle. I was with Remax back then. I didn't have a relief organization of my own. My kids were still at home. Life has moved on since then, Dave. Woo! But here you and I are still serving our agents. How about that?
It's excellent. It's great. I remember you doing videos about refinishing kitchen cabinets. Is that correct?
Yes. I've done a video about everything. I mean, today is just different educational videos, but yeah, I was even taking popcorn off the ceiling.
Yes.
Because I love to do things myself.
I remember that. Anyway, and your son was there. He was so excited. And
he was thrilled.
Anyway, so like I said, I've seen you on Inman stages. I've seen you on small stages, large stages, but you didn't get there overnight. So talk to me about your journey. And the reason I always ask this every week of everyone that comes on a broadcast is because I think it's really important for agents and mortgage people or salespeople or people in business, entrepreneurs, to understand that not everything is easy, right? I mean, we've all been as broker owners, as agents, as people, as entrepreneurs, as solopreneurs, as multipreneurs, we've been used and abused and accused. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that have gone on in my life, your life. So tell me your journey to the point of where you're at today.
Oh gosh, I would just say that life feels like it's very slow and then suddenly it's very fast. And real estate operates the same way. And you and I know this. We've been in the business a long time. I'm 25 years. And agents will ask me all the time, when will it get predictable? And I'm like, well, it's about year 10. I mean, it takes a long, slow slog until there is an organic response from people to you where they already think about you for real estate. And then the phone just starts to ring. And then if you keep feeding the funnel, if you keep taking care of your community, if you stay visible, the fact that you hit that 10-year mark and the phone just starts to ring, well, then you really put the gasoline on the fire and it can take off. And then it becomes a matter of, what do you do to manage it? Do you become a big team, a big brokerage? Do you sell more? Or do you become like me, where I got to number one on the production side and it felt done. I was ready to do something perhaps more scalable, more of an opportunity to support my fellow realtors and help the profession. Right. And so when I got in the business 25 years ago, I was sell, got to number one, got the money, got bored. And if you want to know how you get to number one, it is an everyday slog. It is on the phone. It is door knocking. It is mailings. It's all those things that, oh my gosh, the coaches of the world will tell you it's all out of date. You don't need any of that because you can do it a different way. Well, you can do things a different way and it works, but I will tell you that the tried and true methods, there's a reason it's tried and true. And so when I look at my journey of slogging really hard nonstop, well, the speaking piece happened by accident. And that was because of a mentor of mine he's passed away now. He was a CRS instructor named Alan Hange. And I was on, now I'm going to sound old, I was on Active Rain when we started it in 2005. There was a handful of us that were very active online. And at the time, I was breastfeeding, so I was up all night. So I was hanging out on real estate forums, and this was all brand new. Well, Alan was active with a group he called the Cyberstars, and we were the real estate agents that were active in the internet. Well, I was doing really well, had created some things of my own. Then I met these masterminds, and I started sharing. Alan told me I needed to be on a panel. I said, hell no, I don't want to do it. I'm scared of public speaking. I'm scared of microphones. He wouldn't stop because he said, you have a story to tell. And he kept pestering me till I said yes. And then I got on a stage and I felt so out of place because the other panelists were luxury. They sold more than I did. They were more established. I felt like this little country bumpkin. I sell trailer houses and they sell luxury homes. But then it hit me at the end because there was a group of agents who felt connected to me and other agents felt connected to them. And it was this is the business where there's something for everybody, which means you have to have speakers that are from everywhere so that each part of real estate has a connection. And then it started to grow from there. And I spoke for free for a few years and I took every invitation. But now that I'm 15 years of speaking and educating, I can now cherry pick. I can now cherry pick in my real estate business because you grow to that point. But it's a 25-year journey and I don't even know what's next. But the best thing about real estate is whatever's next is going to be pretty exciting because our business is fantastic.
I think it's been really, really exciting. I'll take it from a personal standpoint of getting back into production. And, you talked about you keep going in the year 10. I can tell you how to grow momentum in this business. And that's picking this thing up and doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing, like social media and email and everything else, putting it all together so that people can't forget you and not getting pushed off the mark because someone said no. Because someone said no twice. Okay, I'm done with that guy. I've got a guy I've called, I think 8 times in the past 2 weeks who keeps hanging up on me. So I just keep calling him. I'm not being annoying. I'm not being nasty. I'm being, very respectful. Now I go to voicemail. So I just, hey, look, I missed you hanging up on me today. Please call me back. Right. And it's not nasty. It's persistence. And some people might say, well, Dave, that's rude. You know what? Okay, that's what you think. That's fine. I'm going to persist and keep going because one of the things I believe in is that consistency is what's going to build momentum. And last time I checked, consistency was undefeated, right? And I think that's really important. So you're doing
and it's a differentiator. You got to point that out too, Dave. Most agents don't have that stick-to-itiveness and they give up because they're so afraid of being rejected themselves or they're afraid that they're going to be perceived as annoying. But there's a huge part of the public that really desires a realtor that won't give up. The realtor who does do the follow-ups, who does ask the questions, who is trying to make the deal come together.
Right.
So if you're willing to stand out by being persistent, that doesn't cost you any money. It costs you time, but we're in a crowded marketplace. We should all be looking for every competitive advantage we have.
Talking about being in a crowded marketplace, is it going to get less crowded over the next few months?
I don't have any idea. I will say that it's got nothing to do with the structural changes in real estate that could affect our numbers. I think it's just the markets. And I don't know what's happening in your market in the numbers, but here in North Carolina, we have a huge amount of jobs coming in. We've experienced a lot of growth, but because of interest rates being sticky high and because of inflation being sticky high, there's a lot of people who are in the wings. And what's going to bring them out of the wings? I don't know if it's going to be job growth. Is it going to be a hiccup in the real estate market? Are there going to be some downward pressures on prices? And I think that's probably coming. I do think we're going to see more unemployment. So when we start to see some of those factors come in, you will then have some buyers and sellers re-enter the market. However, we still don't have enough inventory because building is behind by 10 years. Yep. So you start looking at the if this, then that. Sure. I think that we'll lose some agents just because they can't financially withstand the turmoil that we're in and heading into. And that's why we tell new agents all the time, you got to have 6 months worth of savings before you get into this. And Dave, I just don't know that enough brokers and schools are telling people you have to have that emergency cushion so that you can make it through to the next person who needs help, because it might be further between than it was. And some of our agents can withstand and some can't.
So do you think that do you think our business, as it has changed, right? The business has changed. The brokerage model has evolved, okay? With the business changing and a brokerage model evolving, are there some models that will persist and live on and evolve further? And are there some models that will maybe go away?
I mean, who the heck knows, Dave? We've been talking about this and the circles I've been in for at least 15 years. I know you have too. And we always wonder, what is the big game changer? When are we going to see something really different evolve? And I think it was probably 10 years ago at a RE/MAX conference, they were talking about the ones that will survive are the big mega brokerages and the teeny tiny boutiques. And if you're in the middle, you'll get choked out. Well, we still, 10 years later, we have brokerages of all sizes, because I think it depends on the brokerage's culture, and it depends on who that culture serves, and it depends on where they sit geographically, because what works in North Carolina might work in New Jersey, and it might not, because the personalities and consumer behaviors are slightly different, as I know, because your people all move here eventually. That's why I know so many New Jersey people. But you start thinking about that, and I do think the brokerage of the future is very responsive to what the consumer wants. I don't know that they're reactive, and we've been reactive for a long time.
Yes.
And there's a difference in being responsive and being reactive. And my example for that is that my brokerage added auction services this year, and I'm doing an auction today. That's why I'm in the car. I came outside to talk to you. And I'm doing that as a response to what the consumer is asking for. They're asking for a bigger menu of options, and so I'm adding to that. I'm not reacting by automatically price cutting on what I do, because I'm very expensive and I'm very important and very valuable to the consumer, but that doesn't mean they don't want more options. And so I think it just depends on, who are you as a realtor? Who are you? Who do you serve? What do you want to be? Do you want to be Walmart? Okay, great. Build a brokerage that looks like Walmart. Do you want to be Neiman Marcus? Okay, great. Build a brokerage that looks like that, and be prepared to say yes to some and no to others. And when you think about it like that, nothing's actually changed in brokerage, because that's how agents have been all along. I do think we'll always need brokerages that focus on training early career agents, Dave, because that's not my jam. I'm not here for the brand new. They need a lot of hand holding. We need brokers that are skilled at that. And we need brokerages that are full of the agents that really only need their broker in a time of crisis or emergency, because they're very skilled and experienced. And it's just different. That's why I love real estate.
It is very different. And the more it keeps changing, the more excitement there is for you, for me, et cetera. There's this one thing that with the changes that we've seen over the past year, that we hear a lot of people talking about, and you've mentioned it in a couple of different ways so far, and that talks about our value to our client, to our buyer, to our seller. And the buzz phrase was you have to bring value, right? And one of the things that you do is in your coaching and in your business, you help agents communicate what we call a value proposition. What's the key to that? What is the key to showing your value? Now, some people will say with buyers, they're going to say, well, they ask them all the right questions, and same with sellers. So what's the key though, Leigh?
Okay, let's just break it down in a really hard to understand and hard to accept way, but that's my job, stepping on toes. If you as an agent don't know who you are under the hood, there is no way you can develop a value proposition for somebody else to understand. And too many of y'all, whoever's watching this, and I know I'm going to hurt your feelings now, you don't have the foggiest idea what your core values are. You don't know what your foundation is. You don't know why somebody should hire you versus the thousands of other agents in the marketplace. I know why I get hired. I know what sets me apart from my competitors. It doesn't make me better than. It makes me different than, because there are so many good agents in my marketplace. I love them to pieces. I was texting one this morning when we were sharing some ideas, and I'm not threatened by her. I am better because of her. And that's because I know who I am. And so you have to get really, really drilled in on this. And that means understanding what day of the week you're not willing to give up for a client. I'm not willing to give up Sundays with worship and family for a client anymore. I did in my early days because I was chasing dollars, but now I'm not chasing dollars. The dollars chase me because I am valuable, and you've got to get there. Now, read the book, Start With Why, Simon Sinek. It's a great book, or watch his TED Talk. It's 17 minutes well spent. And if you've read it before, I want you to get out of judgment and into curiosity. As the great Howard Brenton said every time he taught somebody about real estate, if you get out of judgment and into curiosity, you can ask yourself, why do I want to be in real estate at this time? Why do I want to serve the market I serve at this time? Why am I willing to live in a commission income that does this all the time and I don't know what I can rely on? Why? Why do you enjoy this? Because once you start figuring those things out, you can then convey it to the public. And then you get to go through the exercise of boiling it down. I've boiled mine down. Public says, why are you Leigh Brown? I say, because I'm a professional problem solver. When you call me, I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to figure out because I got a guy. That's what my New Jersey people would say, Dave. And so I've learned how to say it real well. I got a guy. Oh, you got a foundation problem? I got a guy. You need to auction your house? I got a guy. It happens to be this girl. But hey. And so you start becoming that level of confidence. And that, my friends, is what the public craves from you. They want you to love what you do and why you do it, because that benefits them.
You just hit the key. What's in it for me, right? I mean, it brings it down, boils it down to really, really a simple way of looking at it. And you're being a problem solver is going to be what most people are going to need. And if they don't need it, well, they're not going to say, well, I don't need Leigh Brown, right? I need somebody else that's probably cheaper. Okay, you go for that. You enjoy that. You have fun, right? So, okay. So in everything we've talked about, you are a wonderful educator, and you tell it like it is, and you tell people what they have to do, as you just did, get out of judgment and into curiosity. And I love that, right? So what are the keys for agents in the changes from 23 to 24 to 25? And let's start with, what's the keys to getting started and having a really good business moving forward?
Well, first of all, you need to run your real estate business like an actual business. That means you need a P&L. You need a spreadsheet to understand inflow and outflow of money. Now, if you don't have a lot of closings coming up, it's going to hurt your feelings. And this is number one reason agents don't do financials. They hate looking at the outflow. And you are putting out money every day, even if money's not coming in. And that money is your signs, your lock boxes, your MLS fees. And it's also the time you spend on social media. It's the time that you spend in and around your business. And there might be no inflows. But when an inflow comes in, it's generally a pretty big one because real estate operates like that. It is seasons of want and seasons of plenty. And so when you have a closing come in, you need to be able to apply that to the spreadsheet and say, all right, how much did I cover of what I've spent? How many do I need to sell to cover this? You've got to understand those basics, because this is why you're not prospecting. You're not prospecting because you feel like it's going to be okay. You've got that generally optimistic mindset. And that generally optimistic mindset is paired with your lack of focus on details. So you don't know how much is outgone in the way of money and time. You start tracking it, you'll start realizing, for me to offset the outflow, I've got to increase the inflow. That is the most important way to get your business under control, is just getting a grasp on that. Now, the second thing you have to understand is that in running a business, there's good business and there's bad business. Good business is the people that you have a foundational values match with. So you can't get there till you know, oh yeah, what yours are. So get to know yourself. Then you know if you match the customer before they can become a client. And some people out there are bad business. And when I say bad business, that's the person who insists on talking to you at midnight every day. And you think to yourself, I can handle it just this one time. Whenever you stray from your values, you are setting up a recipe for a poison relationship, and that person's going to hate you because you shouldn't be trying to do something that doesn't make sense.
That's
Then they're
right.
going to tell the world how much you suck. When all you had to say up front was, look, dude, I'm asleep at 9 o'clock. I'm not your midnight agent. So we can either talk at 7 a.m. or I'll find you somebody else. And that comes from knowing how you operate so that they can find the better match for them, which means you set up for a positive relationship, not a negative one. That has to happen. And no, it's not anything that's going to give you a lot of money today. And any coach that tells you they can make you 100 grand if you just follow their 3-step technique, they're lying to you, because real estate's a long game. And real estate requires you to understand the mechanics so that when the money comes in, you can build on that. So just realize how hard this work is. And then once you get a grasp on it, the rewards are great.
So let me ask you this question. So, is it possible to get started quickly? And getting started is having a grasp on what you have to do, when you have to do it, etc. Knowing your numbers, right? Knowing your financial numbers, which you just said, and moving forward, getting started, and then you have to maintain, right? So is there a secret to maintaining your income, maintaining your flow, and becoming what you want to be?
Well, Dave, you know the secret as well as I do, because we see things in a very similar light. The secret to maintaining is just straight up discipline and hustle. And here's what discipline and hustle looks like. You don't stop prospecting just because you have 3 deals in the pipeline. You don't stop talking to somebody just because their transaction closed. You just don't stop. And it's not sexy and it's not exciting, but it is the key to a good marriage. If you stop talking to your spouse and you stop sleeping with them, your marriage is going to fall apart. So why are y'all surprised when your past clients list with somebody else 5 years later when you stop talking to them? You can't stop talking to people. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be up in their business all the time, but this is the Christmas/Hanukkah season. You should know at a bare minimum if your clients have a faith tradition that they adhere to. And if they don't have one, you should have a note. These are not holiday people. Or is it Christmas? Is it Hanukkah? Know a little bit about people so that you can reach out and give them a little greeting of joy. It doesn't have to be anything more than a wall of emoji, like my teenagers like to send emoji out. Send them 5 emoji. They'll get the text. They'll know you saw them and that you saw something about them that mattered to them. And then even better if you have a mixed marriage where one's Christian and one's Jewish, because then you can send them all the holidays and everybody's happy. And for those of y'all that think I'm kind of crazy because, oh, Leigh, why would you mix faith into your business? Well, it's my foundational core. I am not ugly to somebody who doesn't share mine. I am so lovely to them because I love them. Their faith can be different than mine. That's okay. But why would I hide mine just because theirs is different? That's foolish. And so it allows me to continue the conversation. And then if you're thinking, but Leigh, I'm new to the business, I don't have anybody to call. Okay, that's a lie. What you should know is that in this phone that you're watching right now, or you're listening to it on the computer and the phone's in your hand while you're kind of ignoring me and Dave, we see you. So what you should know is that in that phone, you have a contact manager. When's the last time you called the people in your phone? It's probably the last time you needed them. Oh, that's right. Maybe they need you and you haven't reached out. And so you just reach out and say, hey, and I'll just point this out too, with all the changes in real estate, this is a perfect reason to call people. Hey, what have you been reading about real estate? Just to do a little investigation of what they've heard. The stat that I've heard from James Dwiggins, he's the CEO of Next Home and one of the smartest guys in real estate. James pointed out that based on some recent research, it's estimated, get this, that only 25% of the public even knows something's changed in real estate. And for all y'all in real estate, you're like, well, Leigh Brown, that's crazy. That can't be true. Yeah, it can, because we live in this vertical. We talk it all the time. Normal people don't. Normal people are going to get a beer at the brewery on Thursday night with their office party yesterday, or the kids have a basketball tournament this weekend, or mom fell and broke her hip. They're living a different life. They may not have noticed this. So if you're the one that calls and says, hey, just curious if you had any questions about what's going on in real estate, they're either going to say, yeah, so what's going on with this? And I read this about commissions and I read this about lawsuits. Now you know what train they're riding. And they might say, yeah, are houses still selling in my neighborhood? Okay, that's a different train. Or they might say,
right.
we want to add a fireplace outside our house. Do you know somebody? An entirely different train. So before you leave the station, make sure you're on the right train.
That is so really cool, because it's really important. And this is the best time of year to call someone, to reconnect. I mean, I know, you know what? I mean, over the years, my sphere of influence has been all real estate agents. Now I've got to change that. And I've found a way to reconnect with a lot of people and to communicate with people. So my SOI is growing slowly but surely, because I've decided that's what I had to do. Discipline.
Oh, wait. Say that again. You what, Dave?
I decided.
Wait, say that one more time.
I decided that's what I needed to do to grow my business.
Look, guys, you got to listen to Dave. You hear the coach over here talking. When he says you have to make an active decision, that's what he's doing. It's not about waiting for your broker to hand you leads or waiting for the internet to deliver to you. You have to make an active decision. Be like Dave. That's your new hashtag. Be like Dave.
Be like, I
just gave it to you.
Like Dave. Wait a minute, I got to write that down. Be like Dave.
Like Dave, because you're going to forget it.
I just wrote it down. So here's the thing, right? So everybody talks about, well, I don't have the time. That means you don't want to do it. But I want to ask you, did you decide? Did you choose to do something? My buddy John Cheplak says all the time, it's not a time management problem, it's a choice management problem. I want to add one other thing that I got this week from my good friend Elias Estudo from California. It's also an energy choice. Where are you placing your energy? Where are you doing your choosing? Are you putting the energy in the right place? To me, it was the world of difference this week. You know, it's like, look, I'll share with everybody. I mean, over the number of years, I mean, as you get older, your kids grow up. My daughter got married last week, and she's, you know, both of my girls are married, and you know, I got one grandson, another one on the way, and it gets to be, well, it's not that they don't need me anymore, but it's just that I don't need to nurture them as growing up. I need to nurture them as parents and as their grandkids. And the thing is that over the years, we kind of get into a lull of saying, well, what the hell am I doing this for? I mean, yeah, I love to play golf, but I'm telling you one thing, I can't play golf every day. I'll be bored, and a lot of people could. I'm not going to stop. So I needed to figure out what my, I guess, why was or whatever. I know what it is and I know what I got to do. And then I'm saying, well, this just doesn't feel like it used to. And then I realized I wasn't putting the energy in. Right? I wasn't putting the energy into what I said I wanted to do. The moment I changed my energy switch, the excitement came back. I have no idea what the hell happened, but this is for everyone to listen to, right? Energy is all about your choices, and your choices are based on what you really want. And then you have to have the discipline to do it. And discipline's a skill. What do you think about that?
Amen and hallelujah. And everything you're talking about, the energy is supposed to move. I think we forget about that conversation too, that when I was a new agent, when you were a new agent, we were much younger. We worked with much different clientele than we would now at a different stage in life. So now that my birds have launched the nest, I don't call myself an empty nester. I'm a bird launcher, by the way. So as a bird launcher, when I talk to people who have also launched their birds, we have different conversations now, because now my generation of mediums, we're starting to consider the downsizing, and when's that going to happen, because we're also dealing with aging parents and they may have to downsize. So I'm managing multiple generations, and then my son is ready to buy a house where he lives, and so that's 3 generations of conversations. And the energy moves, because I might have nurtured differently when I had babies in the house than I do now that I'm nurturing aging parents. So I just want to honor what you said there about your energy being re-engaged now, but differently, because that's what you're doing as a parent. Your kids need you to show up differently now, because they need you to show up as Pawpaw to come take care of this kid so they can take a nap.
Right. And by the way, being a grandparent is completely different than being a parent. It's just a love you can never even understand until you do it. All right. So you coached a number of people. You have this thing called You Ask, Leigh Answers. Talk to me about that, because that's pretty cool.
Well, that's my newest offering, and we put it out last year because I've talked to so many agents who desperately need a boost of help, and they don't need long-term intensive coaching. They just need somebody to bounce an idea off of or get re-energized, go back to your energy point, to get the fire lit. So I started this program, and I've put all the content that I have created over the last decade in one place, so it's searchable. And you're welcome, because I've created way too much content that was not searchable. Now it is. So my people get access to that platform. But if they have that one need for information, submit a question. I jump on live and I answer it. But what I also know about real estate is that what happens in North Carolina might feel unique to here. It's actually very similar to the needs of an agent in New Jersey, New York, Kansas, Missouri, California. So you've asked me a question, I answer it for the community, and other people are like, oh, yeah, thank you for asking that, because I needed that information. So the community really can crowdsource in a way that's healthier than on a Facebook group. But they get Leigh Brown at a much more economical price, because I was also responding to the fact that agents who need a little boost from a professional coach probably don't have the pockets for it. And I want to make sure that it's very accessible so people can grow in a good way.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And there's so many different things that are going on that have brought up new fears. And with the change that we had to assimilate to in August, and I believe North Carolina always had buyer agency. Is that correct? Always had buyer agreements?
Since the 90s. So always for most agents, but for those of us that are long in the tooth who have to wear reading glasses, thank you. We've had it by general statute since the 90s. So when I got in the business, we already had buyer agency, and my dad taught me about it because he'd been in since 78. So I had a chance to learn from the OG realtor who knew buyer agency. I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared of the compensation conversation, just because I've been having it for a long time. But I also, to go way back to the beginning of this episode, and if you logged in late, go back and listen, because we talk about value. The only way you can tell somebody that you deserve to be compensated is if you know what they're going to get for the money and they understand what they're going to get for the money.
So when we talk about, or Leigh Brown talks about fearless buyer agency, right? What are we talking about there? When we're talking about representing a buyer, and we're talking about going after, that agreement that needs to be signed, talking about our fees. Now, when we talk about having a great conversation and having a value proposition, right? And we talked about that earlier in this broadcast. Is it all about what they want, or is it all about what they want? Oh, Leigh, you still there? Looks like we've lost Leigh. Maybe it was the question. I don't know. Hopefully we get her back. There you go. You're back.
What? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. You blacked out for a minute. So
I don't hear you anymore. Oh my gracious. What just happened?
You're good. You're good. So
I don't hear you anymore, Dave.
Your
broadcast is going to be a hot mess now, because I have my phone on airplane mode and somehow a call came in.
Can you see me?
Hang on a minute.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
We can see you and hear you.
You can hear me. I just can't hear you. Holy smokes.
Okay.
I have no idea what.
Can you hear
with
me
our
now?
broadcast here.
Can you hear me now?
I'm a little freaked out here, but wow, it just happened.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
And I've
Can
totally
you-
messed up your recording here because I don't know what happened to my phone here. My volume's up and you can hear me and you can
Yes.
see me, but I
Yes.
can't hear you.
All right,
So
hold on.
do we fake the conversation now and you type me a question in the chat and I
think
answer it?
I think
And I'll
that's
just
what
have
we
to pretend
do.
like I'm listening to you because this is crazy. And hopefully
Sure.
your editor, Nelson, there, who's probably rolling his eyes at me right now, will have to still love me because this is absolutely batshit crazy. What went
So,
on here?
how do you, Nelson? Could you write this in the comments? How do you communicate your value
I don't
without
understand
just
what's
asking, well, how
happening here.
many
I can't
bedrooms
log
you
out
have?
because that'll mess the recording up. So I'll just answer your question and pretend like I can hear you and Nelson can patch it together, I guess.
Did you do that, Nelson? Can you hear me, Nelson? Okay, I'm going to type it in the comments.
Recording hasn't started.
How do you
Chat.
show
All right, it still
value?
says live and it still says real estate talk.
Without?
So
How do you show value?
should we go ahead and answer your
without
question even though I can't hear you?
Yes.
Okay. So you asked the question about value and what fearless buyer agency looks like. I just want to remind every agent out there that if you've ever taken a listing, you've walked into somebody's home, you've provided a level of information and consultation and care to them, and then told them that you have an anticipated fee at the end of this transaction. You can do the same thing with buyers. If you think a buyer won't pay you, it's only because you haven't practiced it. You don't have the muscle yet. If you've gotten sellers to pay you for providing a service, same thing's going to happen with buyers. You just have to know what to tell them about what you're offering. And by the way, what you do for buyers is more than unlock doors. They've been told that all you do is open a house and send them a DocuSign. You have to make your list of what you do for them so that they will understand the value. And that's not hard because you're already doing it.
Okay.
Well, now I've got a question over here, Dave. It says, how do you show value without asking about bedrooms? Oh, look, that's not what you do. All right. You don't give them bedrooms. They can get that on any app on the internet. If you think your value lies in bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, you're wrong. What your value should be is talk to me about these bedrooms that you want. Do you need 4 or do you want 4? That's a very good question to ask about bedrooms and help them evaluate different properties. But it's also in the creation of the offer. Do they know the difference in a 4-bedroom and a 3-bedroom in this particular neighborhood? Because as a realtor, you should know how to adjust for that value and help them understand the dollars, to help them think through. If the child's in a crib right now and they live in the house 7 years, is the room going to be expandable for what their needs will look like with a 7-year-old versus an infant? So that's where you start talking them through the emotion and the practicality of a property, which has nothing to do with how many bedrooms it has. Agents get very tangled up in this because we've been trained for all these years to do things in the way everybody else did it. What they're hiring us for is management of the emotion and management of the unknown problems in the process of getting them what they want. Now, let's talk about how an agent can grow and scale your business. I know this is going to sound crazy, but if you want to grow and scale your business, you're going to have to pick up the phone and talk to people. You are going to have to go to the grocery store and stop Instacarting because you people are nuts using Instacart. You are crazy using DoorDash. You are lazy using those, and you know it. Here's the thing you have to remember. If you go to the grocery store that's near your house or near the listing you want, and you have on your little company logo, and you've been making videos on social so people already know your voice, and you walk through and somebody calls and you go, hey, it's Leigh Brown with One Community, although you probably shouldn't do that. But when I say my name is Leigh Brown with One Community, I can't tell y'all how many times somebody has walked over and said, hey, I watch your videos. And I say, hey, thank you. Which one did you like? so literally, not even making this up. Last night at supper, my husband and I had a church meeting and we went to supper. And this lady walked over and she said, I think I follow you on TikTok. And I said, you probably do. She said, I watch all your videos. And I said, which one did you like? And she said, well, I like that last one. And she starts telling me what I said. And then she said, but I did not like it. And I said, well, I'm hurt. And she said, no. I didn't click like on it because I don't want the platform.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Your sound came back.
Yep,
So
here I am. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. I can see you and
so
hear you. We're back.
The internet goblins fixed it. So anyway, she said, I didn't like it because I don't want the platform to know what I'm watching. And I had this aha moment of thinking, holy crap. I thought that the numbers I saw were the real numbers. They're not, y'all. There's people out there that watch and learn from you that aren't liking and commenting because they're protecting their own privacy. But yet she still knew who I was and watched my videos. And then the conversation turned into, we're thinking about selling next year. Can you tell us what to do? And I said, of course I can. And by the way, I'm not putting your house on the internet without your permission, because what did she tell me she wanted? She wanted privacy. And so when you start having those conversations face to face, it is so wildly different than having it over email or text, because her hearing my voice coming up to me is wildly different than her messaging me through a platform where I can't pick up the nuances that I can then respond to, which shows the value. That's where the value comes in. So
That's
look,
right.
y'all, get out from behind the screen. You have to get out from behind the screen if you want to grow in 2025.
100% perfect answer. I mean, that's there's no other way to look at it. So when we talk about this, and you just said it, it says you have to be attractive. Hopefully you're still there. Can you hear me? You went blacked out again. Hello. Okay, you there? Okay, there you are again.
These internet goblins are going to kill me. So now I have two screens. Okay, there we go. Nelson, don't kill me. I blame Verizon.
Can you hear me though?
I can.
Great. Okay. So when we talked about build value. We talked about get back from behind the screen, get on the phone, talking to people. Is attraction that way a part of prospecting? Is that prospecting and attraction? Are they the same thing?
Well, prospecting is actually outbound. Attraction is inbound. So they're two different sides of the same coin. But you can look at this in terms of marketing technology and information. And in fact, a really smart thing if you want to grow in real estate is go learn some things from outside of our profession. We often just learn inside real estate. There's so much to learn from outside. And in the marketing world, there's a conversation all the time about push marketing versus pull marketing.
Right.
Pull marketing is attraction prospecting. That means somebody wants to reach out to you based on what you put out there. I'll give you an example. I've been doing hurricane relief in North Carolina since Hurricane Helene hit in September. And so all the work I'm doing for the hurricane victims has become attraction marketing. People want a realtor who's a give back. They know I'm not doing this for personal gain.
Right.
And so that is pulling people to me. Push a campaign would be me saying, hey, I would like all you people to know what I've done about Patriot Relief. Please support me. That is a push campaign. In real estate, that looks like a just listed card. It looks like a just sold card, and it does work. But where it really takes off is when you combine the two. And so you send out a just listed card in the neighborhood where you participated in a drive for the elementary school that needed backpacks. And so if they needed backpacks and you supported their charity outreach and then sent out a card, that's where the magic really happens, Dave.
Absolutely. So you are as we show on the screen, you are a kicking keynote speaker, an honest coach, but you're also an author, and you also have a great podcast. So you've got 4 books, right? So 7 Deadly Sins of Sales, Outrageous Authenticity, Peeling the Onion, and a Southern Cookbook.
Of course, why not?
Oh, okay, I get it. So, but I'm really interested in the push, the feeling, and why, the reason for Crazy Shit in Real Estate podcast, which you've had for a long time, right?
10 years,
first,
a decade.
right. So you had it. So you had it from our first time you were on, and as I said in the beginning, you're a 3-timer. Episode 51, episode 209. So you are absolutely an OG with this broadcast, and 341. Too much of a lapse between 209 and 341, but we'll cure that. So we'll get you on in another year or so, maybe sooner. Who knows? But the question
yes, but that's
is,
only if you got to come back on mine. You've been on my show one time. I think I'm due for your second round, so we got to have you back. So we'll have you on mine again before I'm on yours again. Fair?
All right, I'm
right.
good with that. So this says that the description of it is a podcast that will shatter the HGTV induced veneer of real estate and celebrate working in this wacky business, right? So you really cut it down. You take all the bullshit away, and you're talking about down deep information. How is this just an outlet for you? Is this is a way to help people? I know that's what you're all about, without question. So it's actually a stupid question. Talk to me about your podcast.
Well, it started as an outgrowth of all the conversations I've ever been in with realtors, and you know how it goes. You're in the middle of your own crazy mess, and then you start telling another agent, and they say, "Oh, you think that's crazy? Well, let me tell you about this one time in real estate." And we are one-uppers nonstop. And my favorite part of our one-upmanship, Dave, is that we don't even have to make this shit up. Real estate is absolutely crazy. You never know what's coming around the bend. So I built the podcast to allow practitioners to tell what they had experienced, because the consumers watching HGTV, they watch House Hunters. And some of them really think that in 30 minutes, you're going to look at 3 houses, have a thoughtful conversation by the beach, and then pick house number 2. And you'll never have an inspection or an appraisal or a survey or a crazy other side of the deal or a dropped phone call. And they don't know. And so I wanted the public to understand that in our world, we never know what's coming next. And there is a wonderful benefit to the public that realtors actually don't give up on a transaction very easily. So it started there. The bulk of the episodes have been stories like that, but in the time since I started it, I've had the chance to talk to different kinds of investors, and so I brought a lot of education into it. And then the VA fell in love with me, the Veterans Administration, and they've been on the show multiple times to make sure that my audience, which has grown exponentially, that they know what to take to veterans out there when it comes to the VA loan. And I love that they're willing to use my podcast as a way to reach veterans who have served this country for whatever reason they served and should know what their benefits are. And the VA understands that it's realtors who can get the information to the veterans. And I love that they see the through line there. So the show is all over the place, to be honest. And it is a passion project. I've only lost money on it over all the years. And maybe one day I'll get on Joe Rogan and then I'll learn how to actually make money with it. But that wasn't why I started it, and it's not why I continue it, but I love it.
So, yeah, I mean, there's so many things, there's so many things about you, young lady, that I absolutely adore and love. And I'm just so happy to have had you on today as the third time. I promised I would keep it like under 3 hours, and we're under that number. So I want to thank you for being on. We've got your Instagram up on the screen. We've got your contact info on the screen. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to helping an agent in the time of year that we're in and what's going to happen in 25?
I will just say the one thing I say every year, Dave, and that is, if you are the one who works when nobody else is working, you're going to have the results nobody else is having. At this time of year, a lot of agents are in take a time off mode. I want to just do my traditions. Absolutely. You do you, boo. But if you're the agent who really wants to get ready for 2025 and scale it up, do your daily activities right now when nobody else is. And I'll just say this, since the lawsuit started and the settlements and all that, a lot of agents have been in a really laid back mode. They're back on their heels. They don't know what to do, so they're doing nothing. Be the agent who says, even if I don't know what to do, I'm going to do something.
Right.
And then that changes your trajectory for the whole upcoming year. I promise you, and Dave can back me up on this. We've been around a long time. The agents who succeed are not magical. They are not geniuses. They are disciplined, and they get the work done.
I'm going to add one thing to that. And self-talk is really important. I spoke with an agent the other day. Says, well, I'm just in survival mode right now. Don't be in survival mode. Be in positive mode. Be able to go after it. Don't sit on your ass. Get up and take action and use the energy that you got. 2 more things, young lady, and then we'll be done for today for this episode 341. Number 1, how do I help you grow your business?
How do you help me grow my business? Well, you help by, first of all, making all the agents that subscribe to you better, because what happens in New Jersey does affect North Carolina. So you keep doing you. And the second thing is, when you encounter people who need a great agent contact in North Carolina, whether it's for the coaching or it's for buying and selling, then you just say, just go ahead and call Leigh Brown. If it's not my area, I'll pay it forward and help them find somebody. How about that?
There you go. 100% perfection. And as always, you're going to add to your collection this week.
Woo!
Got another hat coming to you, another color. I think you got a black one. You might even have a white one. And now you're going to get, well, there might be another black one coming out. You never know.
That's
Leigh,
because that blue is suspiciously like Duke blue, and we hate Duke. And so that's why you have to keep that one.
I will keep this one. We have a all black and white one coming out. It's going to have my team on the side, but that's okay. So we want you to promote us down there as well. But anyway, Leigh, thanks so much for coming on. Thank you for everything that you do for the world of real estate. And more importantly, thank you for everything you do for the society of human beings that you come in contact with. I truly appreciate you. Thank you so much. Next week, guys, just so you all know, we've got Jamie Morang coming on. Jamie Morang is the leader in construction sales here in New Jersey. He has just partnered up with Align, and he is moved with Morang Group. Jamie, mover and shaker, is all about new construction. He's going to be with us next week, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Leigh, thanks so much. You got to get rolling to what you got to do. We got the hat coming out to you, and let's figure out, will you be in Inman in Manhattan in January?
I will not. I will still be in D.C. where I'm going to President Trump's inauguration. So I will be in celebration mode while you guys are in real estate mode. But hopefully the celebration I'm attending is going to feed the upcoming real estate market.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leigh. God bless you and your family. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Dave. Merry Christmas. And I look forward to having you back on my show very soon.
Just let me know. I'm there. Thank you. And we are going to go. So let's go with the video. Hit it, Nelson.